Hey, what's up, everyone? Happy Sunday. And it is 10 degrees outside, but it feels like it's June inside my house. This pepper garden slash hodgepodge garden, whatever you want to call it, is really thriving. And this is a water only. I build the soil using a pro mix and some down to earth amendments, and I do a top dressing of worm castings at like week 6, and all I do is water. But occasionally I have to come in here and defoliate, so that's kind of what we're doing today. But I thought I'd do a little garden tour beforehand. So right here we have 2 Scotch bonnets, and what I've done, they're different sizes because I'm kind of like LST, low stress training these plants differently. For example, with the poblano, I have these little trainers on there, and what I'm trying to do is just open the plant up. And you can see there's some branches, there's some foliage down here in the middle I'll remove. So that's kind of what I'm doing today. Just going through and kind of defoliating, inspecting what's going on down at the bottom. And I'll probably actually put a few more trainers on. When you're growing in small containers like this, if you really open up the plant, you're going to allow lots of airflow, definitely lots of light penetration, and that's going to, equal to a successful yield. And we're not setting up an environment for possible having powdery mildew. Speaking of powdery mildew, I did get down in here a little bit because I was curious, because that fan's really not reaching way down in this asylum. But it's fine. Everything seems to be doing really well. Now, probably my biggest question, and maybe somebody in the comment section can help me, is I have several of these cosmos, these seashell cosmos, but they're really not doing anything other than drinking copious amounts of water. And with some plants, for example cannabis, now cannabis, it won't start to flower until you either trick it indoors or it naturally transitions into fall and the light schedule changes. So with these cosmos, I'm curious if they need a different light schedule. For example, this tent is on 18 hours of light a day, and what's that leave is like 6 hours of darkness. And with cannabis, when you come out of the veg state, you flip the lights from 18 hours to 12 hours of darkness, 12 hours of light. So I'm curious, maybe if these cosmos need the same thing, or maybe I'm just being impatient and they really need to grow before they start to bloom. So I'm going to give it probably another week, and if they don't start flowering, I'm probably going to consider switching this tent to maybe 14 hours, maybe kind of manipulate fall a little bit. But so that's what I'm going to do today, is just kind of go through and do a light defoliating. Back here in the back, I haven't really talked about this a whole lot. This is an Alaskan variegated, and I was hoping it would vine more, but it's really not. But it's pretty. Then we got a little crimson clover hiding in the back, and let's grab one of these guys out. Now check this out. This is a sweet pepper from the grocery store. You buy those bags of little sweet peppers. Well, I'm germinating a couple of the seeds, and I'm curious of what they come out like. So we'll have to keep an eye on those. I'm gonna actually probably need to transplant from the solo cups. Oh, we got a little bit of crimson clover there. It's just now starting to get good roots, so I'll come in here and kind of trim it up a little bit. But that's it, y'all. I'm going to transition the camera, and if you want to stick around, I'll get in here and work with some of these little white trainers and kind of open these plants up a little bit. And I forget what week this is. It's maybe week 10. But let me set up the camera and we'll defoliate. Okay, let's have a look at this seashell Cosmo. The seashell Cosmo. Oh, that's a tongue twister. This right here is catnip, and my cat Tori, she loves it. And I've done some close-ups of the catnip in another video. I may add some to this one, but wow, catnip when it flowers is absolutely beautiful. So we got a little bit of catnip hanging about. Mostly it's this Cosmo. And what is this, a 1 gallon container? And I'm telling you, you got to water this plant like twice a day. What I'm going to do today is come in here and really defoliate. And I have another video where I've done a bunch of cuttings. And what I'm going to do with this one as well is I'm going to come in here and defoliate. And I'm going to make probably 6 or 7 more cuttings. And what I'll do with those cuttings is I'll propagate them. And here by spring, I'm going to have a couple dozen variety of different flowers that I'm propagating for the yard this upcoming spring. So they won't go to waste. I'm going to save them. And I'm going to stick with these Cosmos, y'all, until they flower. So who knows how long that's going to be. They may not flower until I put them in the yard. Who knows? But right here looks like a little bit of light burn. When you're growing indoors, with them being LEDs, they don't put off a whole lot of heat, but when they're close, you know, they put off a little bit. So that's it with this guy. Just going to do a quick defoliating. I'm not even going to show that on camera. Let's move on to the next plant. Okay, moving along. What we got here? We got a Scotch bonnet. So I have the camera position here because I don't know what this is. I'm not really sure if that's an insect or if that's some type of deficiency. If there's anybody watching the video that can maybe has some experience with these peppers. I don't really have a whole lot of experience with peppers. I just kind of treat it, I kind of treat them all the same. What I'm going to do with this guy is I have these little trainers, and first thing I'm going to do is just come in here with these lower branches, pardon me, these lower leaves. We're really not going to get a whole lot of photosynthesis off of these lower branches, or pardon me, I keep saying branches, these lower leaves. So I'm going to lollipop this plant a little bit. Then I have these trainers. Man, I can't explain today. All right, let me slow down here, not break any branches. Probably not the best camera angle, but we got one of them on there. Now with growing these peppers, I'm going to enjoy a really nice harvest off of these peppers. I'm guessing sometime in February. And I'm going to let these peppers grow all the way until springtime. Then when it's warm enough, I'll stick them outside. Then they'll grow all year long. And if I happen to like a pepper, you know, you can bring the pepper back indoors and have it go dormant, then start all over again. I know people that have had the same pepper plants for years. Scotch bonnet's one of my favorites. What I'll do with this is I make a really nice sauce. Oh man, talking about some good Caribbean chicken. Not too spicy, lots of flavor. But as you can see, what I'm doing with these guys, this one here, he's a little stiff, so I'm gonna have to, have to really be careful with this one. So when you get one that's really stiff and stubborn, you can kind of soften up those fibers a little bit and have the plant bend in your favor. And something else that helps is when you're defoliating and you're doing this low stress training, when you do this when the plant needs water, they seem to be a little rubbery when they're thirsty. But that's kind of it. I will cut back to when the plant's all finished. Okay, this is kind of it with the Scotch bonnet. I kind of just did a little light defoliation. And as you can see with the trainers, I've bent all those branches outward. Now what's going to happen, if I can show this with two hands, what's going to happen is these are going to start to bend back upwards, and they'll start bending upwards about right here. And so therefore they're not hiding underneath all that top foliage anymore. It's just going to make a healthier, happier plant. And if you look at all these leaves are little solar panels for the flowers that are starting to form. So something that's important is light penetration. You don't want to make sure you have too many top leaves and they're not getting enough light to this bottom foliage. So that's another really good reason to open up the plant. So Scotch bonnet is in the books. Okay, here's another Scotch bonnet, and as you can see, this pepper plant is so much smaller than the other one. I really don't know why that is, because I thought maybe I topped one differently, but it looks like they're about the same. But anyway, I'm just going to go in here on this one and probably just in the middle. A lot of this right here, I'm just going to yank all that out. So if I yank all that foliage out of the middle, everything on the top is going to get all the energy that was kind of going to this wasted area in the middle. So that's kind of what we're going to do with this guy. Okay, I just kind of I just got in there and opened things up a little bit. Makes it a little airier. We don't really want, as this plant grows, we don't want to get caught up in any humidity pockets. So keeping your plants nice and airy is so important. Something that I find interesting with this plant, as I start to kind of get in there and cut on it, it really started to put out like this peppery, like a peppery smell. Unlike the other one, the other Scotch bonnet that I just did, it didn't do that. Now I know when you cut on like tomato plants or even cannabis plants, when they're flowering, they'll put off a really strong, I don't know if it's like a terpene profile, but they're really fragrant. And this guy here is really putting off a peppery smell, and the other Scotch bonnet didn't. So I'm curious if this pepper will be any hotter than the other one. So moving along. Okay, here we have a 7-pot chocolate. Now this is the only plant out of all of them that I haven't done anything to this plant. I have absolutely done nothing to this plant, and I'm just curious of how it does on its own. So I think I'm going to just leave it alone. Something that's going to be exciting for next week, I have a feeling that we're going to have flowers next week. So something to keep an eye on. Okay, here we have 2 poblanos, and somewhere down in here we got a little clover, and we're just going to give everybody a nice little trimming. The clover got a little too dry on me one day, so he browned out, stressed out a little bit. You can see the difference in these plants though. See this one here where it's opened up so much more, and with this one here I didn't use the trainers, so you can really see side by side the difference. This one to the left is opened up quite a bit, and that's definitely going to affect when all these peppers start growing really close together. So I'm just going to leave this one alone though. So I'm just kind of doing a couple different styles here. We're going to heavily train one plant and kind of just light defoliate the other. So what I'm going to do with the poblano today is I'm not going to do anything to these two. They're really not necessary. I thought about coming in here and taking out some of this bottom, but to be honest with you, there's plenty of light penetration. So I'm thinking that these guys may start to grow up. So we'll just leave them alone. And wow, look at over here. This poblano over here is really taking off. Next week, and one of the reasons I grow these peppers, I mean, I do like spicy peppers, but I love the flowering stage of peppers. They're always so elegant and pretty, it seems like. So there's the poblanos. Okay, everyone's back in the tent and everyone's watered. I don't know if I mentioned, this is a all organic soil, so all you have to do is water it. And the Cosmos, they're really drinking a lot of water. So the next video is going to be a super exciting video, because I would imagine this time next Sunday that all these flowers are going to start blooming, and that should be fun to keep an eye on. And all the hard work's done. I think what I'm going to do with these guys over here is see if there's a deficiency in why are the leaves curling like that. Or pardon me, not curling, but they have little, like maybe a magnesium deficiency. So I'm going to look into that and maybe do a slurry test. Now a slurry test is where I will take that plant and I'll over water it until I get drain off. Then all the drain off, I'll use a ppm pen and I'll check the I'll be able to check the nutrient value of the soil with the ppm pen. So maybe we're running too much nitrogen in here. There's not enough magnesium. So we'll see if we can troubleshoot that. But overall, everything looks super healthy. I hope y'all have a wonderful Sunday, and we'll see you next week.